Well, there is another challenge here, which is a challenge for every seller, is if you may have multiple channels to sell one SKU, but guess what? Your inventory needs to service all of them, right?
Yeah.
So how do you allocate the inventory without either overloading one channel or without leaving money on the table? That's another aspect of selling through multiple channels.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, that's what I meant about the complexity of optimizing for margin, because obviously if you have too much inventory on hand, right, then you're tying up cash non-productively. And if you have too little inventory, then you have stockouts, which can impact you more than just obviously the lost sale. Some of these e-commerce platforms like Amazon will penalize you, right, if you're out of stock too often. So that's the main reason that I said you have to have data and you have to have the technology and tools to be able to look at that across platforms so that you can really forecast, for example, how much inventory do you need to have on each platform, right? You need to understand how that demand will change over time. So you got to get into forecasting. And by the way, the reason this becomes really difficult for a brand is that the answer changes with time. It's not like you can do this calculation one time and say, okay, I know how much inventory I have to have. It changes depending on your pricing, because if you reduce your pricing, typically you increase your sales velocity. That's going to have an impact on your inventory decisions. If you increase your pricing, the reverse happens. Advertising can also have an impact on your sales velocity. It has an impact on how demand converts on one channel versus another. And so this is actually, the nerd in me, it's a multidimensional problem. And it's not one that you're going to solve by just throwing more people at it. On one hand, it's a math problem. You can actually calculate what is the optimal decisions to make in each of those areas to optimize your contribution margin. And on the other hand, you need to implement that optimization, right? So you got to set the dials in terms of how much inventory you have on each platform, what your advertising strategy is, what your pricing strategy is. And you can't really do this one by one. You want to really think about it as a holistic problem. You need to have both the ability to optimize, to understand what the right decision is, and the ability to implement it. So you have to have both.
Yeah. Multi-dimensional is exactly it.